They told me I was lucky my son came home when he did. Lucky. That's what the police said, what the insurance adjuster said, what my neighbors whispered when they thought I couldn't hear. But luck had nothing to do with it, Captain Mitchell. Those two kids, and I call them kids because at 71, everyone under 40 looks like a child to me, they thought I was an easy mark. Widowed and living alone in a house that was falling apart faster than I could fix it. They saw dollar signs. What they didn't see coming was my son walking through that door at exactly the right moment. What they really didn't see coming was the gasoline can in their own truck. Everyone thinks this story is about a house fire and a botched robbery, but that's not where this fire started. The real fire started 3 months ago, the day I made the mistake of answering a knock on my door. If you've ever been treated like you're too old to know better, you'll understand this story. If you've ever watched someone try to take advantage of your mother or grandmother, you'll understand why what happened next was justice, not luck. My name is Dorothy Brennan, and I've lived in this house for 43 years. My husband Frank built half of it himself, the sunroom, the back deck, the garden shed where he kept his tools. When he died 2 years ago, the house started showing its age. The roof leaked and the deck boards rotted. The whole place needed work I couldn't do myself anymore. I'm not helpless, let me be clear about that. I can still drive, still do my own shopping, still beat my son at gin rummy when he visits. But climbing on roofs and swinging hammers, those days are behind me. So when Tyler and Melissa knocked on my door last March with their bright smiles and glossy business cards, I thought maybe God was finally answering my prayers. Mrs. Brennan? Tyler was maybe 30, good-looking in that generic way where you can't quite remember his face 5 minutes later. We're with Premium Home Solutions. We've been doing work in the neighborhood, and we noticed your roof has some serious damage. I'd noticed too. The stain on my bedroom ceiling had been growing for months. We're running a special this month, Melissa added. She was younger, probably mid-20s, with perfect teeth and a clipboard that made her look official. Senior discount. We can give you a free estimate right now. I should have known better. Frank always said if someone shows up at your door offering to fix something, they're the ones who probably broke it in the first place. But I was tired of the leak, tired of putting buckets under drips, tired of feeling like the house Frank loved was crumbling around me and I couldn't stop it. All right, I said, let's see what you find. What they found was apparently catastrophic. According to Tyler's very concerned inspection, my roof wasn't just damaged, it was about to collapse. The deck was a death trap. The electrical panel was a fire hazard waiting to happen. Mrs. Brennan, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Tyler said, shaking his head like he actually cared. But you're looking at about $30,000 in repairs. Maybe more. My stomach dropped. I didn't have $30,000. However, Melissa jumped in, right on cue. We can work with you. We've got financing options, and if you sign today, we can knock $5,000 off the top. They had an answer for everything. Payment plans, senior discounts, a contract already printed and ready to go. I signed. God help me, I signed. The work started the next week. At first, everything seemed fine. Tyler and Melissa showed up on time and got right to work. They were polite and professional. They even cleaned up after themselves. But then the extra charges started. Mrs. Brennan, we found rot in the rafters. We'll need to replace those too. That's another $4,000. The electrical panel is worse than we thought. Building code requires us to upgrade the whole system. Another $6,000. We need to replace this ductwork, another $3,000. Every week brought another problem, another charge, another form to sign. The original $25,000 ballooned to $45,000, then $50,000. I stopped sleeping, started having panic attacks. How was I going to pay for this? But they were so nice about it, so understanding. Tyler even brought me coffee one morning, said he knew this was hard, but they were taking care of me. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe I hadn't made a terrible mistake. My son Michael came home in June. He's career Army, been stationed overseas for the last 18 months. He'd been calling every week, asking about the house, about the repairs. I'd been vague. Didn't want him to worry. Didn't want him to think his mother couldn't handle her own affairs. But when he walked through that door and saw Tyler and Melissa packing up their tools for the day, something in his face changed. "Mom, who are these people?" "The contractors," I said. "I told you about them." "No." Michael's voice was flat. "You told me you hired someone. You didn't tell me they looked like they were 19 and driving a brand new truck." Tyler stepped forward, hand extended. "Tyler Morrison, Premium Home Solutions. You must be Dorothy's son. She's told us all about you. Thank you for your service." Michael didn't shake his hand. "How much has she paid you so far?" "That's between us and Mrs. Brennan. How much?" Melissa cleared her throat. "With the deposit and the progress payments, about $40,000. Michael's jaw tightened. He walked past them without another word, went straight to the sunroom where they'd been repairing the foundation. I followed him. Tyler and Melissa followed me. Michael knelt down and examined the work, ran his hand along the new concrete, looked up at the rafters they'd supposedly replaced. Then he stood up and pulled out his phone. "What are you doing?" Tyler asked. "Calling someone who actually knows what the hell they're doing?" The contractor Michael called, a guy named Ron who'd served with him in Afghanistan, showed up an hour later. Ron walked the property for maybe 20 minutes, took photos, made notes, didn't say a word. Finally, he came back to where we were all standing in the driveway. "Mrs. Brennan, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you've been scammed." My legs went weak. Michael caught my arm. "The roof work is cosmetic," Ron continued. "They slapped some tar paper over the old shingles and called it a day. The deck boards they replaced are the same rotted boards, just flipped over. The electrical panel hasn't been touched. And that foundation work, that's not even concrete. That's textured paint over the existing cracks." I couldn't breathe. $40,000. For nothing. Tyler was already backing toward his truck. "Now, wait a minute. I took photos of everything," Ron said calmly, "including your truck's license plate and the business registration that doesn't exist. I'm guessing Mrs. Brennan's not the first person you've done this to." Melissa's face went pale. Her hands were shaking. "Tyler, we should go." Tyler's face was red now. "You don't understand. We've got other jobs, other clients counting on that money." "You mean other marks," Michael said quietly. The kind of quiet that's more frightening than shouting. "We're in debt," Tyler said. You needed to not scam my mother." Michael took a step forward. "Leave. Now." They left. Michael called the police, filed a report. The officer who came out was sympathetic but not optimistic. "These contractor scams are hard to prosecute," he said. "It's civil court territory. You might get some money back, but it'll take years." After he left, I sat at my kitchen table and cried. $40,000. Everything Frank had left me. Gone. Michael sat across from me, holding my hand. "We'll figure this out, Mom." But I could see it in his eyes. He didn't know how either. Tyler and Melissa came back 2 nights later. I was asleep when it started. Dreaming about Frank, actually. We were in the sunroom, the one he built with his own hands, drinking coffee and watching the birds at the feeder. Then, I smelled smoke. Not dream smoke, Real smoke. I opened my eyes. My bedroom was dark, except for an orange glow coming through the window. Not the streetlight, something different. Something that flickered and moved. Fire. I threw off the covers, legs shaking as I stood. The smoke detector in the hallway started shrieking. Through my bedroom window, I could see flames climbing up the side of the house. Frank's deck was burning, the wood he'd stained and sealed every spring going up like kindling. I grabbed my robe, had to get out, had to... The hallway was full of smoke. Not thick yet, but enough to make my throat close. I covered my mouth with my sleeve and moved toward the stairs. That's when I heard the voices outside. Michael's voice, and someone else. Tyler. Michael couldn't sleep that night. Too much adrenaline from the day, from confronting Tyler and Melissa, from seeing what they'd done to me. He'd been on the couch, trying to distract himself with his phone, when he heard the truck in the driveway. 2 a.m. No headlights. He looked out the window and saw them. Tyler and Melissa moving along the side of the house toward Frank's old shed. Tyler had something in his hand, something red. A gas can. Michael grabbed his phone, started recording through the window. Watched them approach the deck. Tyler was pouring gasoline on the deck boards. Melissa had Frank's old propane torch from the shed, the one he used to use for soldering. That's when Michael walked outside. He didn't call the police first. He should have, but he didn't. He just stepped out that back door in his boxers and t-shirt, phone in his hand, recording everything, and said 4 words. "Put it down. Now." Tyler spun around, gas can in hand. The porch light caught his face, eyes wide, panicked. "This isn't," Tyler started. "Put the gas can down." Michael's voice was flat, dead calm. The kind of calm that comes from years of training, from knowing exactly how dangerous you can be if you need to be. Tyler made a decision then. The wrong one. He threw the gas can at Michael. Gasoline splashed everywhere. The deck, the grass, soaking into Michael's t-shirt. The fumes hit Michael immediately, made his eyes water, his throat burn. Melissa already had the torch lit. She didn't throw it, she just dropped it. Maybe on purpose, maybe from panic. It didn't matter. The deck exploded. Not like in movies, no huge fireball, no dramatic soundtrack, just a sudden whoosh as the gasoline ignited, flames spreading across the deck in a wave of orange and black. The wood Frank had built, that he'd stood on every morning with his coffee, was burning. Michael dove sideways into the grass and rolled. His shirt was smoking, but not on fire yet. Not yet. Tyler was running for the truck. Melissa stood frozen, watching the flames climb the siding, her mouth open in a scream that wasn't making any sound. Michael got to his feet and went after Tyler, caught him before he reached the driver's door. They went down hard on the driveway, Tyler's head bouncing off the pavement. "My mother's inside!" Michael's voice wasn't calm anymore. "You just lit the house on fire with her inside!" That's when Tyler started fighting for real, swinging wild, catching Michael in the jaw, in the ribs. Michael barely felt it, just grabbed Tyler's arm and twisted it behind his back the way he'd done 100 times in training, in real situations, in moments that actually mattered. Tyler screamed. I made it to the front door. Through the window, I could see Michael on top of Tyler in the driveway. I could see Melissa sitting on the grass now, sobbing, her hands over her face. I could see the orange glow reflecting off their faces, off the trucks, off everything. The house was burning. Frank's house. Our house. Everything we'd built together was going up in flames because 2 kids in debt thought I was too old and too stupid to fight back. I wanted to scream, wanted to run out there and... The sirens started, getting closer. Someone had called 911. Maybe a neighbor, maybe Michael before he went outside. The fire trucks were coming. 3 trucks, including Station 47. The firefighters moved fast, hoses running, water spraying, voices calling out coordinates and pressure readings. The fire was mostly on the deck and exterior siding. It hadn't reached inside yet. They caught it early. Captain Mitchell walked up to me while I stood on my lawn in my nightgown and robe. I was shaking and couldn't stop. "Ma'am, are you injured?" I shook my head, couldn't speak. He looked past me at Michael, who was sitting on Tyler's back now, breathing hard. Melissa was still on the grass nearby, hands covering her face. "Is that your son?" Captain Mitchell asked. I nodded. "He okay?" "I'm fine," Michael called out, voice hoarse from smoke and adrenaline. "These two tried to torch my mom's house. Everything's on video." The police were pulling up now, 2 cruisers with lights flashing red and blue across the yard. Captain Mitchell looked at me again, really looked at me. "Ma'am, do you want to tell me what happened here?" So I did. Standing on my front lawn at 2:30 in the morning, watching firefighters spray down what was left of Frank's deck, I told Captain Mitchell everything. The contract, the scam, the $40,000, Ron's inspection, the fake repairs, Tyler and Melissa showing up with gasoline and a torch. "They tried to destroy the evidence," I said. My voice sounded small. "They tried to burn it all down, with me inside." Captain Mitchell didn't interrupt, just listened. When I finished, he looked over at Tyler, who was now in handcuffs courtesy of the police. "Your son stopped them," he said. "My son saved me," I corrected. Again, the fire was out. The police were loading Tyler and Melissa into separate cruisers. Tyler was yelling something about lawyers, about how this was all a misunderstanding. Melissa was crying so hard she could barely walk. I watched them. These 2 kids who'd smiled so nicely at my door 3 months ago, who'd brought me coffee and called me ma'am and told me they were taking care of me. They'd tried to take everything. My home, my savings, my dignity. And when they got caught, they'd tried to burn the evidence, with me sleeping inside. The relief hit me all at once, not the happy kind, the kind that makes your legs give out, that comes from realizing how close you came to losing everything. Michael caught me before I fell, put his arm around my shoulders. "I got you, Mom." I started crying. Not sad crying, not scared crying. The kind of crying that happens when you've been holding everything in for too long and your body just lets go. "They almost got away with it," I said into Michael's shoulder. "If you hadn't been here." "But I was here." Michael's voice was firm. "And they didn't get away with it. They're done, Mom. It's over." Captain Mitchell was still standing nearby. I looked at him, wiped my eyes. "They tried to take everything," I said. "My home, my dignity, Frank's memory. They almost succeeded." He nodded, didn't try to minimize it or tell me it could have been worse, just acknowledged it. "But they didn't," he said quietly, "because you raised a son who came home when you needed him."
That was Dorothy Brennan. I'm Captain Dean Mitchell, Station 47. We got the call at 2:14 a.m., structure fire, possible arson, resident possibly inside. When we arrived, the fire was active on the exterior deck and siding. Dorothy's son Michael had the situation under control. Suspects restrained, video evidence of them starting the fire already uploading to the cloud. I've been doing this job for 18 years. I've seen a lot of insurance fraud, a lot of contractor scams, but I've never seen anyone stupid enough to come back and try to burn down the evidence while the homeowner was sleeping inside. Michael told us later he couldn't sleep that night, heard the truck with no headlights, looked out the window and saw them with the gas can, started recording on his phone and went outside. When Tyler threw the gasoline at him and Melissa dropped the torch, he'd already hit record. The whole thing's on video, them approaching the house, pouring gas, lighting it, the fire starting. They're both facing arson charges, attempted murder charges, fraud charges, and elder abuse charges. Ron, the contractor who exposed them, testified they'd done the same scam to at least 7 other homeowners in the area. All elderly, all living alone. Dorothy's getting her money back, plus damages. The DA called it an open and shut case. The house needs real repairs now, after the fire. But Ron's doing the work, at cost, says it's the least he can do for a fellow veteran's mother. Sometimes fires destroy everything, but sometimes they just burn away what should have been gone already. Tyler and Melissa thought Dorothy was an easy target because she was 71 and living alone. They forgot that being 71 means you've survived 71 years of life. You've buried people you loved. You've raised kids who turned into the kind of men who fly halfway around the world at a moment's notice when their mother needs them. You've earned the right not to be treated like you're stupid just because you're older. I called my own mother after this shift. Woke her up at 6 in the morning, actually. Asked if anyone had been by her house offering repairs, trying to sell her services she didn't need. She laughed, said she doesn't answer the door for strangers anymore. Learned that lesson years ago. Smart woman. I wish everyone was that cautious. But if you weren't, if you fell for something like this, it doesn't mean you're stupid. It means someone worked hard to earn your trust and then betrayed it. That's on them, not you. If you've ever been dismissed because of your age, if you've ever had someone talk down to you like you can't understand, if you've ever watched a loved one get taken advantage of, this one's for you. Share it. Let people know these scams are out there. Let people know they're not alone. And if you're Tyler or Melissa, watching this somehow, you picked the wrong house. Stay safe out there.